I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, May the 24th, 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met yesterday in Jerusalem with his French counterpart Manuel Valls, where Netanyahu reiterated Israel's position regarding the French peace initiative and offered an alternative. Netanyahu told Valls the Palestinian Authority does not see the French initiative as an inducer for negotiations, but as a way to avoid them, and then suggested direct talks with Abbas in Paris instead of the international conference planned in the city next month, which does not include Israel or the Palestinians at its initial stage. The Israeli Prime Minister said he'd be willing to meet Abbas, quote, in Paris or wherever, and hold face-to-face negotiations without international mediation, adding that, quote, every difficult issue will be on the table. Valls said he would welcome direct talks and would speak to French President François Hollande about Netanyahu's proposal. Today, Valls met in Ramallah with Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah, who rejected Netanyahu's offer. Hamdallah said time is short. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to buy time, but this time he will not escape the international community. Meanwhile, Ynet reports that Egypt is pushing its own peace initiative. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi called on Israel and the Palestinians to attend Egyptian-led talks in Cairo. In a televised speech in the last few days, el-Sisi said, "I say to the Israelis and ask the Israeli leadership to allow the broadcast of this speech at least once or twice." He said there is a real opportunity for peace, even if in the short term there is no real basis given the conditions in the region. This latest declaration was the second such call from the Egyptian leader. He also spoke on Egyptian television last week, promoting and supporting peace efforts between Israel and the Palestinians. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and Yisrael Beitenu head Avigdor Lieberman are said to be on the brink of signing a coalition deal that would add the party's 6 seats to the Likud-run government. Some details of the deal are still being worked out, specifically finalizing an agreement on pension reform for former Soviet Union immigrants, which Lieberman demanded as a condition for him joining the coalition. And in a special Knesset meeting yesterday honoring Theodor Herzl, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that he is happy to have others join and expand the coalition as well, hoping to have as wide a government as possible. Netanyahu said the door is open to anyone who wants to lend a hand to benefit the state. We have no other land and we have no other country. We have one country, an amazing country, a country we need to protect and promote. And American-born David Sharon was named as Netanyahu's next cabinet secretary. Sharon will replace Avichai Mandelblit. Sharon is originally from Los Angeles. He was previously the chief of staff of the Prime Minister's office. He is also a lieutenant colonel in the IDF Reserve. The reform movement in Israel is set to receive a $15 million grant from the Taub Philanthropies. It will be used to update the movement's Jerusalem headquarters on King David Street, which will be renamed the Taub Family Campus at a ceremony coming up at the end of next month. Students of the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion spend their first year of study at that campus in Jerusalem. The grant is the largest ever to a Jewish organization from the San Francisco-based foundation. Its chairman, Tad Taub, said that the school was doing groundbreaking work in training the next generation of reform rabbis, cantors, educators, and nonprofit leaders for Israel and the Jewish people as a whole, adding that its Jerusalem campus, Jewish professional leadership development, brilliant faculty, and ambitious students deserve a beautiful, modern campus that matches the institution's lofty goals. Members of the World Jewish Congress's Jewish Diplomats Corps took part in a meeting last week with the United Nations Special Rapporteur on contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination, and xenophobia, Mutuma Rutir. The meeting took place in Argentina while the rapporteur was visiting the country. He was presented by the group with a report on the status of racism and anti-Semitism in Argentina, as well as with their recommendations as to how to deal with the phenomenon, hoping he would include them in his upcoming report on the subject. And tonight, Tuesday, May the 24th on JBS, a look at the battle against anti-Semitism, including at 8 o'clock tonight, Irwin Cotler, who is former Justice Minister of Canada and a major voice fighting the BDS, Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions movement, talks about the many examples of spreading anti-Israel and anti-Semitic sentiment and suggests strategies to combat. That is from JBS's coverage of Kean University's conference. Then at 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with Phyllis Goldstein on L'Chaim to talk about her book, A Convenient Hatred, that looks at anti-Semitism across the ages. And at 10 tonight, Rabbi David Wolpe looks at present-day anti-Semitism. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, May the 24th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.